Welcome to JavaScript Pro, the comprehensive course designed to take you from intermediate to advanced level JavaScript. JavaScript is everywhere. From dynamic websites to mobile apps, mastering it is the key to unlocking opportunities as a developer. This isn't just another JavaScript course, it's a step-by-step guide into the features of the JavaScript language. This course is for developers looking to level up their skills. What truly sets this course apart is our teaching style. I use the active recall technique popularized by Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work and a computer science professor. This technique engages your brain in a way that helps you truly internalize concepts by actively practicing how to retrieve them from memory. In every section, you'll encounter carefully crafted study questions, designed not just to teach, but also to challenge you. We'll go over a possible answer for every single question, helping you fill in any gaps of your understanding. Plus, there's an accompanying ebook and PDF that includes all the questions and answers, so you can review and reinforce your knowledge anytime. This course is designed to actively engage all learning styles, visual, auditory, reading, and kinesthetic, so that no matter how you learn best, you'll find an approach that works for you. Every lesson is structured to utilize multiple senses and areas of the brain to maximize retention and understanding. We start with the fundamentals of advanced JavaScript, covering object-oriented programming, prototypes, ES6 classes, and modules. You'll dive into practical tools like Babel, Webpack, and Node.js to build projects that mirror real-world scenarios. My goal is to teach you how to think like a professional developer. By the end of this course, you'll have the skills, confidence, and mindset needed to tackle complex JavaScript problems, ace job interviews, and have the fundamental programming skills needed to build apps. So let's go over what you'll learn in the 9 sections of JavaScript Pro. Intro to Advanced Topics. We start with the essentials, an introduction to advanced JavaScript concepts, and how this course is structured to maximize your learning. You'll set up a professional development environment and gain an overview of the key skills you'll develop throughout the course. This section lays the foundation for a smooth, productive learning experience. Objects. Master the core principles of object-oriented programming, also referred to as OOP, including the 4 pillars, which are encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism. You'll learn how to create and manipulate objects using different approaches like object literals, factories, and constructors. By the end of this section, you'll understand how to manage properties, use getters and setters, and handle concepts like abstraction and private properties, which are all critical for building scalable and maintainable code. Prototypes. Discover how JavaScript's prototypical inheritance works under the hood. Explore key concepts like inheritance, property descriptors, and the difference between prototype and instance members. You'll also learn when and why to avoid extending built-in objects and how to iterate through prototype members effectively. Prototypical inheritance. Build on the previous section with a deep dive into creating and managing your own prototypical inheritance hierarchies. You'll learn how to reset constructors, call superconstructors, override methods, and even implement polymorphism. By the end of this section, you'll know how and when to use inheritance in real-world projects and how to enhance functionality with mixins. ES6 Classes. Transition from traditional prototypes to modern ES6 classes. This section covers class syntax, inheritance, and static methods. You'll also dive into advanced topics like using symbols and weak maps for private members, hoisting, and method overriding. These are the tools that will make your JavaScript cleaner, more maintainable, and align with modern best practices. ES6 Tooling. Master the tools that power modern JavaScript development. You'll learn how to use modules, both CommonJS and ES6, as well as how to optimize your workflow with Babel and Webpack. These tools will allow you to write cleaner, more efficient code and ensure compatibility across different environments, which is a must-have for professional developers. Node Module System. Get started with Node.js and understand how it enables JavaScript to run on servers. You'll explore Node.js architecture, the module system, and key built-in modules like path, OS, file system, and events. By the end of this section, you'll know the fundamentals of Node.js required to create powerful, scalable backend systems and understand how the module wrapper function and event-driven architecture work. Node Package Manager. Learn how to manage project dependencies like a pro. This section covers everything from creating and managing package.json files to installing, updating, and publishing packages. You'll also explore semantic versioning and best practices for working with global and local packages. These skills are crucial for maintaining efficient, collaborative development workflows. Asynchronous JavaScript. In this section, we will cover one of the most important aspects of JavaScript, asynchronous programming. Learn the difference between synchronous and asynchronous code and how to manage async operations using callbacks, promises, and async await. You'll also explore patterns for handling callback how, running promises in parallel, and creating subtle promises. This section will give you the confidence to write efficient, non-blocking code for real-world applications. So how can this structure work for you? Each section is designed to build in the laughs, creating a seamless learning journey that connects theoretical knowledge with practical applications. Whether you're preparing for a job interview, building your own mobile app, or simply aiming to master JavaScript, this course will help you with the tools, confidence, and expertise to achieve your goals. Level up your career with JavaScript Pro. Enroll today on StevenCodeCraft.com with a 3-day free trial, and let's take your skills to the next level. In this video, I will guide you through the resources and materials that will help you get the most out of your learning experience on StevenCodeCraft.com, and then we will set up your development environment. So after you create an account, go to the My Courses page and click on the JavaScript Pro course. So if I scroll down here and click Start Learning, this will navigate to the course dashboard. So here on the course dashboard, you can see a button that says to start the video course. And if we scroll down, we can also see links for the course materials. So let's first click into the video course so we can see that interface. So on the left, we see the videos. So here, if I select this particular video, if I scroll down, we can see the different sections. Now, I'll press play to start the video course. So I'll pause it for now and let's look at the different options that we have. So we have an option to show the subtitles. We also have a settings icon where we can adjust the speed. So if the video is going too fast, you can always adjust it. So let's scroll ahead up here. So for each video lesson, I have an active recall study section. So this helps mimic a technical phone screen interview and also helps you understand where you have gaps in your knowledge. So let me play this. So here I will ask an open-ended question. Main focus of object-oriented programming, and how does it organize software design? After I ask it, you'll see this text that says to pause the video and answer. So manually pause the video and try to answer it in your own words. I'll press play again. And then I will provide a sample answer for this question. The main focus of object-oriented programming. So after you hear the answer, don't worry about memorizing it verbatim. It's just to help you understand it in case you struggled with putting in your own words. So after you watch the video, click on the button that says complete and continue. So after you do that, you will see a check mark next to this video lesson, and then we'll move on to the next video in the course. So let's go back to My Courses now that you're more familiar with the video section of the course. Let's go back to the dashboard for JavaScript Pro. Now let's discuss the course materials. So scroll down and you see these different links. So for the first link is the code for the course. So this section contains the completed code for the course in a GitHub repository. So this includes the finished projects and examples that we'll be building together. These resources are designed to help you see the end goal and provide a reference for what your own code should look like as you progress. You can use this code as a guide to troubleshoot and refine your own projects. But remember, the real learning happens when you write the code yourself. There's also another link for the starter files. So these files are neatly organized into folders with clear naming conventions to match each video in the course. So we'll click into one of these folders, in this case, the object section. And here you can see different files corresponding to each video lesson. So you can click on this green button. You can either clone the project from your terminal or click on Download Zip. And you can open that in VS Code. There's also an ebook in the course section, and this is a 600-page comprehensive ebook, and it covers all the topics that we'll discuss in the video lessons. So I strongly encourage you to read the relevant section of the ebook before watching the associated video. I'll scroll down here so you're more familiar with what the ebook looks like. So here we have the introduction and a discussion of object-oriented programming. So reading the material ahead of time primes your brain for what's coming in the video, making it easier to follow along and retain the information. There's one more ebook in the course materials, which is the Active Recall Study Questions. So this is to ensure that you solidify your knowledge and prepare for real-world applications and technical phone screen interviews. So this PDF contains all of the Active Recall Study questions that we will go over in the videos. And this is to test your understanding of key concepts and build a solid foundation in JavaScript programming. Let's scroll here so you're more familiar with what it looks like. So these are all the questions for section 2. So you go through each of these and try to answer it in your own words. And don't worry about memorizing it verbatim of the answer that I provide. Then you can scroll down. So if you struggle with answering that, I provide a sample answer. So I highly recommend that you take the time to answer these questions. Even if you're unsure about an answer, the process of thinking about it and putting in your own words will strengthen your understanding. And of course, you can always refer back to the ebook or the video for clarification. These course materials are here to support you every step of the way. By engaging with them, which includes the finished code, the starter files, the ebook, and the study questions, you'll set yourself up for success and gain a deep, lasting understanding of JavaScript. To start programming JavaScript, there are two essential tools you'll need to install: Node.js and Visual Studio Code. So what is Node.js? This is a powerful runtime environment that lets you run JavaScript outside the confines of a web browser. It's what enables you to build and run JavaScript applications on your computer, including server-side projects. While you could just run JavaScript in your browser, for this course we will be using Node.js to execute our programs. The second tool is Visual Studio Code, otherwise known as VS Code. Developed by Microsoft, this is an integrated development environment, or IDE for short, and this is where you'll spend most of your time writing, testing, debugging, and running your code. It's a versatile desktop application used by developers worldwide, and we'll be using it throughout this course. Both Node.js and Visual Studio are free and easy to install. Installing Node.js. Begin by opening your browser and heading to nodejs.org. Once you're on the site, click to download Node.js. LTS stands for long-term support. Downloading this version is recommended for most users because it's the most stable and well-supported version of Node.js. Once downloaded, open the installer and follow the on-screen instructions. The default settings are suitable for most users, so you can proceed with them unless you have specific preferences. Installing Visual Studio Code. Next, we'll install our IDE. Navigate to code.visualstudio.com in your web browser. Click the download button for your operating system. VS Code is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. After downloading, run the installer. Like with Node.js, the default installation options will work perfectly for our purposes. So now once you have installed both Node.js and Visual Studio Code, click to open up VS Code. After you click it, you will see the welcome page. Then open up Finder or File Explorer if you're in Windows, and create a new folder. Now this will be the folder where we place our code. So I'll just name it Project. Now, the name of the folder doesn't matter. Then I can click and drag it into VS Code. This will open up the project. Now to add a new file to our project, I can click on this icon, and I can name it code.js. So the name of this file doesn't matter, but the file extension does. So now we can write our first line of code, and I'll say console.log, then in single quotes, I'll say hello world, and then I'll end it with a semicolon. Notice as I'm typing, this file has not been saved yet, and so I see a circle indicating that I have unsaved changes. So to save it, I can do Command S, or on Windows it would be Control S. So now if I want to actually execute this file, I can do File, Appearance, and then Panel to open up the integrated terminal in VS Code. Now there's also a shortcut. I can do Control and backtick. So if you don't use the backtick character often, it's located on the left-hand side of your keyboard above the Tab key. So I can do Control and backtick to toggle this open. So I'll be using Node to execute this program. So I'll type Node, and then the name of our file, which is code.js. So here we see this value, hello world, is logged to the console. So I'll close this. Now VS Code offers a lot of features and a lot of ways to customize it. Before this course, we'll just be covering the basics that you need to get started. So on the left-hand side is the activity bar, where we see a list of icons. The topmost icon is the folder icon, and we can use it to toggle our project to see the folders and files within it. Next is the search icon, and we can use this to search, find, and replace text. So for example, let's say if I do hello, enter, we see that this text is found in our code.js file. So I'll close that. The next one is our source code icon, and this is used to keep track of the changes in our project, as well as collaborate with other developers using Git version control. Next is the run and debug icon. You would use this when setting breakpoints in your code and debugging it if there are errors. Next is the extensions icon. This gives you access to the extensions marketplace. So this enables you to install additional features to VS Code to improve your productivity and help you customize VS Code to your needs. Now the icons on the bottom is for your account and to adjust your settings. Now on the bottom of the screen is the status bar here in blue. On the left side, you will see any errors or warnings in your code. And on the right side, I see the line number that I'm on for my current file. And I also see the programming language being used. So let's say if I wanted to add another file to my project, rather than always having to click on this icon, I can use the keyboard shortcut of Command and N or Control and N on Windows, open up a new file. And on the bottom right, we see that this is identified as plain text. So now if I want to save this file as a JavaScript file, I can do Command S and I can name it as second program.js. And now on the bottom right, we see that VS Code can identify that this is a JavaScript file. The next thing I want to cover is the command palette. You can access the command palette by going to View and then Command Palette. Now another way to do that is with the keyboard shortcut of Command, Shift, and P, or it will be Control, Shift, and P on Windows. Now the command palette is very important as it is the control center for all commands in VS Code. From here, we can also adjust the color theme that we use. So I click on Color Theme, and as I scroll up and down, we can see different color themes for my code editor. You can also access additional themes by going to the very top, clicking on Browse Additional Color Themes, allowing you to search through different options. Now for this course, I'll just stick to the standard Visual Studio one. Now to make the text larger, you can do Command and plus or Control and plus on Windows, and also Command minus or Control minus in order to make the text smaller. So this is a quick overview of VS Code, teaching you the basics that you need for this course. So for this course, there are 2 VS Code extensions that I suggest and that we will be using throughout this course. So click on the icon for extensions and type in live server. Then you can install this extension and we'll utilize it later in the course. Now this extension, live server, essentially makes it easy for us to have hot reloading. So when we write our code, we can actually see those changes reflected in a web browser. Then another extension that we'll be using for the early part of this course is Quokka. So type in Quokka. So select this one and then install it. Essentially this allows us to see the output of our JavaScript without having to constantly run it in our terminal. Before we get started, if you're interested in supporting my courses and projects, you can follow me on my new YouTube channel and Instagram at StevenCodeCraft. You can also explore my courses at StevenCodeCraft.com. And if you're looking to enhance your health and fitness routine, check out my workout and meal planning app at FitFuelPlanner.com. The app offers over 100 recipes, workout plans, meal plans, and a grocery list feature. It's designed to make tracking your calories and macronutrients straightforward and stress-free. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next section. Object-Oriented Programming, or OOP, is a programming paradigm built around the concept of objects. At its core, OOP organizes software design around data, or objects, rather than focusing solely on functions and logic. Objects are instances of classes, which serve as blueprints for creating and managing data and behavior. A class can encapsulate both the data, often referred to as attributes, and the functions, known as methods, that operate on that data. This combination makes it easier to group related functionality and data into a single modular structure. One of the key benefits of OOP is how it promotes modularity and code reusability. By designing software in a way that mirrors real-world objects and their interactions, OOP helps developers create systems that are easier to understand, maintain, and extend. Languages like JavaScript, Python, Java, and C# are just a few examples of programming languages that support OOP, providing the tools to create and manipulate objects effectively. OOP is especially useful for managing the complexity of large software projects, making it a preferred approach for many modern applications. What does object-oriented programming focus on, and how is it different from just using functions? Object-oriented programming, also referred to as OOP, focuses on organizing code around objects, which represent data and the actions that can be performed on that data. This is different from just using functions, where the focus is primarily on writing step-by-step instructions or logic to solve problems without grouping data and behavior together. Object-oriented programming, or OOP, is a programming paradigm that focuses on objects rather than functions. This approach organizes software design by grouping related data and behavior into self-contained units called objects. At the heart of OOP are its four foundational principles. I'll explain each of these principles up front so you're familiar with them as we begin. Throughout the course, you'll see examples that clarify these abstract ideas. So these four principles include abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation. First, let's discuss abstraction. Abstraction involves hiding the complex implementation details of an object and exposing only what's necessary. This simplifies how we work with objects, allowing us to focus on their functionality without needing to understand all the intricate details behind the scenes. Polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms, and this allows objects to be treated as instances of their parent class rather than their specific class. This enables methods to behave differently depending on the object that's calling them, making your code more flexible and adaptive. Inheritance. Inheritance allows new objects or classes to take on properties and behaviors of existing ones. This reduces code duplication and promotes reusability and makes it easier to maintain consistent design across your application. Encapsulation. Encapsulation combines data and the methods that manipulate it into a single, self-contained unit, referred to as an object. By restricting direct access to this data, encapsulation ensures better control, security, and reduces the risk of unintended interference. These four principles, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation, can be remembered using the acronym API. Transitioning from procedural programming. Before OOP became widely adopted, many programs were written using procedural programming. This approach divides the program into functions that operate on variables. While simple, procedural programming can create significant challenges as projects grow, such as code duplication and interdependencies. So code duplication refers to repeatedly copying and pasting similar code across functions, leading to redundancy. Interdependencies refers to changes in one function can inadvertently break others, creating a web of interconnected issues, often referred to as spaghetti code. Object-oriented programming addresses these issues by bundling related data and behavior into objects. Within an object, variables are known as properties, and functions are called methods. Why OOP matters. By adopting OOP principles, you can write more modular, maintainable, and scalable code. OOP simplifies interactions between different parts of your application, reduces the risk of errors, and makes your code easier to extend and adapt to future requirements. Whether you're managing a small script or a complex system, OOP provides the structure and clarity needed for professional software development. This lesson provided a high-level overview of the four core principles of OOP, which can be remembered using the acronym API, standing for abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation. Throughout this course, we'll explore more practical examples of each of these foundational principles in detail. What is the main focus of object-oriented programming, and how does it organize software design? The main focus of object-oriented programming, also referred to as OOP, is on objects, which group related data and behavior into a single unit. This helps organize software design by bundling properties and methods together, making code easier to manage, understand, and reuse. What is abstraction in OOP, and how does it simplify working with objects? Abstraction in OOP means hiding the complex details of how something works and only showing what is necessary. It simplifies working with objects by letting you use their functionality without needing to understand all the behind-the-scenes implementation. How does polymorphism make code more flexible and adaptable in OOP? Polymorphism makes code more flexible and adaptable by allowing the same method or function to work in different ways depending on the object it is used with. This reduces the need for repetitive code and makes it easier to handle different types of objects in a consistent way. What is inheritance in OOP, and how does it help reduce code duplication? Inheritance in OOP is a way for one class to use the properties and methods of another class. This helps reduce code duplication by allowing you to reuse existing code in new classes instead of writing it again. What does encapsulation do in OOP, and why is it important for control and security? Encapsulation in OOP bundles data and the methods that work on it into a single unit called an object, and it restricts direct access to the data. This is important for control and security because it ensures that data is only modified in controlled ways, reducing errors and preventing unintended interference. How does OOP address the challenges of procedural programming, such as code duplication and interdependencies? OOP addresses challenges like code duplication and interdependencies by organizing code into objects that combine data and behavior. This reduces redundancy by reusing code through inheritance and makes programs easier to manage by keeping related functionality within self-contained objects, reducing the risk of unintended interactions between parts of the program. In JavaScript, an object can be defined using curly braces, which signify an object literal. An object literal is a way to organize data using key-value pairs. So here's you can declare an empty object. So we can use the let keyword, and I'll name the object programmer. Let's assign this to an object literal. I'll give it a key of name and the value of my name. I'll add another key for preferred language, and I'll set that to JavaScript. Now I'll define a method which will utilize these two properties. So I'll name this writeCode and set that to an anonymous function. So this will console.log, use a template string, this.name, writes, this.preferred language, code. And I'll end it with a semicolon. Now I'll define another method, and I'll use syntactic sugar for cleaner syntax. So I'll say drink coffee, then open and closing parentheses. Then I will console log this.name drinks coffee. So this shows different syntaxes that you can use to define methods within an object literal. And I will end this with a semicolon. Now I can call programmer.writeCode. Control and backtick to bring up the terminal. Let's navigate to where this file is. So it is in objects. And here I'll do node, and I'll name this file 3objectliterals.js. And here I see it logged these property values. So in this instance, the programmer object literal has 4 members. So it has 2 properties, the name and the preferred language, and it has 2 methods, writeCode and drink coffee. So this structure allows us to encapsulate related properties and functions within a single organized entity, making our code cleaner and more intuitive to work with. By leveraging object literals, you can create versatile and reusable code structures that represent real-world entities or complex data models effectively. What is an object literal, and how would you create one? An object literal is a data structure in JavaScript that allows you to define key-value pairs. It essentially enables you to group together variables and functions. In the context of an object, it will be referred to as properties and methods, and you would create one by using curly braces. To help reinforce this concept, your exercise is to create a simple JavaScript object literal representing a grocery list item. This object should have the properties of quantity and name, along with a method, display, that logs the quantity and the name to the console in this format. So to demonstrate how you can implement this, I can use the const keyword, and I'll name it grocery item. Could assign that to an object literal with the key of name. I'll just set that to apples. And the key of quantity, I'll set that to 4. And our method, so that will be display console.log backticks. So I'll say this.quantity times this.name. End it with a semicolon, and we'll close our object literal with a semicolon. Then I can call grocery item.display. Or I can just log this out, and I see the expected output.